I mean, I wrote an entire book about how it's okay to joke about anything and everything.
Did you now? How's it doing?
It's doing very well.
Yes, I hear it's on the bestseller list.
They're doing very well, yes. So much. It's been a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff's happened. I did not get stretch marks.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm Kat Timpf. Welcome to a special edition of Gutfeld.
The day she gave birth to her first son was also the day everything around Kat Timpf turned upside down. Just hours before the birth, a shocking event happened behind the scenes that put her family in a state of absolute emergency. What caused the woman who was always strong on television to suddenly disappear for a long time? Why did her husband, Cameron Frischia, break his silence when all the news was kept secret? This video will clarify the whole truth behind the unexpected incident, including never-before-published revelations from insiders. Don't take your eyes off the screen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kat Timpf, in for Greg on this special edition of Gutfeld. I'm hosting tonight while Greg cheats on us with another late-night show. All right, first, let's do some jokes.
On February 25, 2025, Kat Timpf gave birth to her first son at a hospital in New York. In a post shared on social media platforms, that evening she confirmed a surprising piece of information. Less than 15 hours before entering the delivery room, she was diagnosed with stage 0 breast cancer. Kat said she was more than a week past her due date. Her health was stable, and her pregnancy indicators were still within safe limits. Nonetheless, during a prenatal clinical examination, doctors discovered an abnormal image in her left mammary gland. A biopsy was performed immediately, and the results confirmed ductal carcinoma in situ, an early stage of breast cancer which is believed to have not spread. She did not have to be hospitalized immediately, but the doctor recommended a bilateral mastectomy as soon as possible to prevent progression in the near future. This event occurred less than 24 hours before Kat went into labor. While preparing for motherhood, she also had to deal with a life-changing event cancer treatment while giving birth. In her first public post about the event, Kat wrote, "I thought I was just dealing with having a baby. But it turns out I was also dealing with a mastectomy." Her husband, Cameron Frischia, was present throughout the diagnosis delivery and initial postpartum care. This was also the first time Cameron broke his months-long silence, deciding to confirm the news of his wife's condition. In a repost of Kat's post, he wrote, "No one was prepared for this, but she didn't back down, and neither did I." The short but clear status was shared thousands of times on social media platforms and became the first milestone in Cameron's official stance after weeks of keeping things private within the family. Though he has never given an interview, Cameron is often mentioned in Kat's posts as someone who kept his nerve when everything was falling apart. He received medical information from doctors, prepared surgical records, and handled hospital logistics while his wife was preparing for labor. In an update in early March, Kat wrote, "My husband had to listen to doctors talk about the possibility of me having surgery while I was still having contractions. The moment of birth is considered an emotional turning point for any family. For Kat and Cameron, it was a moment that simultaneously held both life and the risk of loss. Within hours, they welcomed their first son and simultaneously began planning cancer treatment for his mother. Kat did not delay sharing personal information. She went public with her health status shortly after giving birth, along with the first photo of the baby. In the post, she wrote, "Birth announcement, Mom and baby are fine, except for the fact that Mom has cancer. But the baby is the best thing. Maybe it was you who helped me find out in time." The humorous tone is still Kat's familiar style, but the content shows a reality that cannot be softened in any way. Stage 0 breast cancer does not require immediate treatment, but doctors assessed Kat's case as needing early intervention because of the location of the lesion near the milk ducts, plus the fact that she had just given birth. The treatment plan was agreed upon within 3 days of giving birth a double mastectomy, removal of both breasts followed by reconstruction. After giving birth to her first son, Kat Timpf did not have a real time to rest. Just a few days after leaving the hospital, she began planning her treatment. The doctor recommended a double mastectomy to eliminate the risk of the cancer returning in the future. Kat agreed without hesitation. She described the decision as the hardest, but also the easiest, as all other options involved risks she didn't want to take as a new mother. The recovery process wasn't easy. She faced pain, tightness, and sleeplessness for weeks. At the same time, caring for a newborn required energy and patience she had almost exhausted. Kat admitted that this period was more exhausting than any other time in my life. Still, she maintained the habit of sharing regularly on social media, using a humorous tone to discuss seemingly heavy topics. I may have lost my hair, lost my breasts, but I will never lose the ability to laugh at adversity, she wrote in a widely shared post in mid-March. In subsequent interviews, Kat insisted she had no regrets about choosing full surgery. Early detection helped her be proactive, but the bold decision ensured absolute safety. I chose to live longer to see my child grow up. Everything else is just details, she said, with finality. Her transparency gave the audience a clear sense of reality in her, a person known for her logical thinking and straightforwardness when discussing sensitive topics. Along with physical treatment, Kat also faced the emotional loss of not being able to breastfeed. This was one of the topics she talked about earliest after surgery. Being a mother is not just about breastfeeding. I am still a mother, but I feed my child differently, she wrote. This statement quickly became one of Kat's most quoted quotes in 2025, demonstrating her independence and calm perspective when touching on an issue that many women are still afraid of. Kat completed the first stage of breast reconstruction in mid-2025. Doctors confirmed that her health was stable with no signs of recurrence. Still, she has one final step, breast reconstruction surgery, scheduled for December. Kat calls it the final touch and says she's looking forward to the day when her nearly year-long medical journey can be over. I'm literally and figuratively putting myself back together, she said in a brief interview. As her health improves, she's starting to re-emerge from her professional life, marking a new phase in her life. And that's when Kat and Cameron's relationship is starting to gain more attention, not just for their love, but for how they've navigated and survived the crisis together. A marriage under pressure. Kat Timpf and Cameron Frisha married in 2021 after nearly a year of dating. They met on an app for media and veterans. Kat was a prominent face at Fox News at the time, while Cameron served in the Army Rangers before moving into finance. Their marriage was private, quiet in the media, and maintained a stable image for many years. By 2024, when Kat announced her pregnancy, the public began to pay more attention to her personal life. Photos of the couple in posts showed a clear bond. Kat often called her husband her best friend, while Cameron was described as an introvert, quiet, but always supported his wife in every decision. During the period when Kat was diagnosed with cancer and gave birth almost at the same time, Cameron played a central role in stabilizing the family situation. He received medical information, prepared everything for the upcoming surgery, and handled the logistics related to caring for the newborn. There were no formal interviews, but what Kat shared was enough to show the level of her husband's silent contribution. Although he rarely appeared in the media, Cameron was present in every article related to his wife's health crisis. Kat wrote, "He doesn't try to show off, but when I need to fall somewhere, he is the only place I can lean on without collapsing." This is not a flowery quote, but an accurate description of how they maintained their relationship during the most difficult times. In the post-surgery period, Cameron became the primary caregiver in the family. He prepared meals, held the baby, changed diapers, coordinated visits, and did everything necessary to ensure Kat had the proper rest. This continued for weeks when Kat was still unable to move flexibly or hold the baby for too long because the incision had not healed. When Kat began sharing publicly about her health condition, Cameron remained silent. All posts were only from Kat, but after a while, Cameron unexpectedly reshared one of his wife's posts with the caption, "My wife is the strongest person I have ever met." This is considered the first time he has directly spoken out, affirming his role as a companion and recognizing his wife's efforts in public. The obvious difference in their personalities became a complementary factor during the treatment period. Kat was open and willing to say everything to control the story. On the contrary, Cameron chose to step back to be a support. They did not appear as a model media couple, but their behavior showed their strength through the real crisis. The pressure of being new parents combined with treatment appointments and postpartum psychological changes made the two go through a highly challenging period. According to Kat, there were times when she felt like she was drifting away from reality, but it was Cameron who pulled her back with stability in her behavior and daily care routine. Cameron does not use social media much. Apart from the post confirming his wife's health, he hardly updated anything else. That silence does not mean distance. For Kat, it was a proactive choice to maintain the necessary quiet for the recovery process. She called him a true supporter during the entire postpartum and treatment period. Kat's career was not completely interrupted during the treatment period. As her health stabilized, she gradually reappeared on television with a clearer attitude, affirming her role in both work and life after the incident. Returning to broadcast, Kat Timpf returned to recording for the Gutfeld program from mid-2025. This was an event confirmed by many news agencies after she appeared in a broadcast with the theme revolving around the redefinition of personal roles after the crisis. In the program, Kat maintained her usual style, sharp, concise, and did not avoid any topic, including the fact that she had just undergone a mastectomy. The return after a long break due to childbirth and cancer treatment was considered faster than expected. Kat confirmed that she has completed the first phase of her treatment and is continuing to monitor her health regularly. She still has a breast reconstruction surgery scheduled for later this year, but overall, her condition has stabilized and allows her to continue working. She shared during a recording, "I didn't come back because I had to. I came back because I still have the ability to do this, and I want to." The statement clearly shows her personal perspective on balancing recovery and maintaining her professional identity, especially when the public is closely following her every move after the incident. Over the years, Kat Timpf has built an image as a character who is not afraid to touch on sensitive topics, from politics, culture, to personal rights. Her expression often combines straightforward reasoning with ironic humor. When talking about her cancer treatment journey, she still maintains this approach. She once shared, "I don't see myself as a survivor or a victim. I'm just a person who's living, and cancer is something I need to deal with like everything else." In her comeback appearances, she often refers to her medical experience as a part of life, not elevating it to the level of inspiration, nor avoiding it as taboo. Kat's television career has not been completely interrupted. Even during her time off, she has maintained communication with the editorial team, participated in brainstorming ideas for some short columns, and prepared for her comeback. For her, staying connected to work is part of her recovery strategy. She also said she is continuing to write her third book, which includes a chapter dedicated to her experience of being diagnosed with cancer while in labor. Unlike the previous two books this time, the content is more personal but still maintains an analytical style, not getting too emotional or dramatic. Since returning to the airwaves, Kat has also begun to participate in internal events of the station Meet with Partners and actively participate in coordinating some special broadcast segments. This shows that she not only plays the role of host, but also maintains influence in the content of the program. Those who work with her describe Kat as someone with a high self-balance ability, especially in a pressure environment like political television. After her absence, there is no sign that she has fallen behind the wheel. On the contrary, many of the broadcasts she participated in achieved high levels of interaction and received positive feedback. One of the highlights of Kat's post-treatment career is her appearance in media projects on community health. She does not represent any specific organization or campaign, but has participated in several closed-door discussions organized by medical facilities, sharing from an insider's perspective. Kat's calm and controlled return to television is the result of years of developing an independent mindset. It began in her childhood, her environment, and her early experiences of loss, which formed the mental shell she still uses to sustain herself against all odds. The roots of resilience. Kat Timpf was born in Detroit, Michigan, into a family with a basic educational background. Her mother was an elementary school teacher. Her father was an electrical engineer. From a young age, Kat lived in an environment that promoted independence and self-responsibility. Her family was not wealthy, but was strong enough to ensure that her children received a full education and had a clear direction. Growing up in the economic milieu of an industrial city like Detroit exposed Kat to the realities of life early on. She did not grow up in the spotlight or in an artistic environment, but chose the academic path as a foundation for development. Kat graduated from Hillsdale College, a conservative school with a focus on foundational education and critical thinking, where she wrote for student publications and developed a sharp argumentative streak, a skill that would later prove invaluable in her media career. A turning point in Kat's life came in 2014 when her mother passed away from cancer. At the time, Kat was just starting to establish herself as a television commentator. The loss was unexpected, and she says it was the first shock that made her rethink her entire outlook on life. Kat has said that after this event, she learned to prioritize her health and personal connections over the noise outside. While she hasn't shared many details about her mother's death, she has stated, "I understand the value of early screening, not because of an article, but because I've seen what happens when you catch it late." Since that incident, Kat has become more proactive in health-related issues. She regularly checks up, monitors her health, and always chooses to have frank conversations when her body shows signs of abnormality. This is the reason she discovered stage 0 breast cancer during pregnancy when she performed additional tests as advised by her doctor. But her strong critical thinking, Kat never puts herself outside of reality. She clearly understands her own limits and knows how to handle scientific information in simple language. When talking about her negative BRCA gene variants, a genetic factor often associated with breast cancer, Kat shared, "I don't have that gene. I don't have a family history. I still got it." That says enough about why people need to get tested even if they don't have any signs. Kat's proactive spirit and ability to improvise did not come from her media experience, but was formed in her teenage years. As a high school student who was bullied for her different opinions, Kat developed a habit of standing her ground early on. This helped her face public opinion without being influenced even when she encountered sensitive topics in her commentary career. Many colleagues commented that Kat's confidence did not come from an extroverted personality, but from a clear sense of personal worth. This was consistently demonstrated in the way she handled crises from the death of her mother to her postpartum illness. In an internal conversation at Fox News, Kat once said, "If you wait for someone else to tell you you're okay, you're probably never okay. I learned to confirm that for myself at a very young age. Kat's childhood and adulthood were not glamorous. She did not come from a prestigious environment, did not possess a prominent financial or relationship background, but always maintained a clear direction. This laid the foundation for the resilience she displayed throughout her treatment, recovery, and return to the media without straying from her original personality. Kat Timpf's journey shows that there are moments in life that no one can prepare for, but can still be overcome if we are calm, proactive, and receive timely companionship. The story is not only about cancer treatment, but also about how a woman maintains herself during the biggest changes, motherhood survival, and continuing to be herself. If you find this story worth pondering, don't forget to like to support the channel, share the video to spread the positive message, and leave a comment below if you have something to say to Kat. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next content. Thank you for watching.